What is good, YouTube, man? Today I'm back with you guys, with the nation, for another video, man. And today I don't got us no visuals. I got us the OG videos, just back to explain to you guys some news. It's been pretty slow. So I'm gonna just give you my thoughts on some of the things that we've seen so far in last week, and certain press conferences that we got. Certain players spoke out a bit. We got some decent stuff that we heard, that we saw. I'm also be touching up on the topic of Max Crosby and how he went to Von Miller's summit, and he was there with other Raiders like Solomon Thomas, Darius Philon, things like that, man. But before I get into today's video and today's topic, I have to give a big shout out to my boy Icy Nate, man. This man yet again dropped us another thumbnail, another good thumbnail. So you already know. Shout out to Icy Nate. Go check out his YouTube channel. It is at Icy_Nate. Go check him out. But without further ado, man, let's get into today's topic. So, like I said, man, we had some certain news. We had a couple of things that we knew. Casey Hayward had a presser. A couple of guys had a presser, right? And we got some topics. We saw some things, right? First things first, it was said by Casey Hayward himself that he hadn't been taking many reps, if not at all any reps, inside the slot. And, for many of us, I know that when I first came out and said that I think he was going to be our #1 corner, a lot of you guys bashed me for it. A lot of you guys were like, how is he going to be our #1 corner when we just spent a first-round pick on Damon Arnett last year, and Trayvon Mullen has been getting better ever since his rookie year, and he was a second-round pick. And a lot of you guys were kind of, giving me your guys' opinions and stuff, but in all honesty, I stick by that statement. I do believe that week 1, probably going on to week 5, Casey Hayward's going to be out there with Trayvon Mullen as our starting corner, as our starting outside corner. What does this mean for Damon Arnett? I'll let you guys know right now. So basically, with that being said, with Casey Hayward kind of saying that he hasn't been doing anything or practicing much at all for the slot position, it kind of tells us that right now what we've seen from small little clips, I mentioned it before, each time I saw the defense or the DB specifically, or the cornerbacks do drills, I always saw it in order as Trayvon Mullen, Casey Hayward, then Damon Arnett, right? And in my opinion, that was a pattern that kind of stuck with me, right? So I honestly do feel that Casey Hayward and Trayvon Mullen are going to be our outside corner starting week 1, right? That's just what I believe. Casey Hayward has proved it in this. He's proved it in this system more than anybody on this team because he's been with Ron Miles for 6 years. He's also been with Gus Bradley for 5 years, right? So he's proved it. He's done it in this system. He's going to be our starter week 1 on that outside. That's just my opinion. That is just my opinion, if I'm being honest with you guys, because I don't see anybody else starting over Casey Hayward week 1. I don't see it. I don't see Damon Arnett doing it. I don't see Nate Hobbs or any of the other guys that we have. I don't see that happening. I do think that Casey Hayward's going to be our starter week 1. Him alongside of Trayvon Mullen. And as for Damon Arnett, I believe that he'll be starting in the slot. I know we have Nate Hobbs. I know we have Amik Robertson. I know we have those guys that are duking it out, competing it out for that slot job. But let's take it back a couple years, right? Let's take it back a couple years. Damon Arnett, freshman year at Ohio State, did very, 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 very well in the slot. And he played in a system very, very similar to this and flourished in the slot. If you want to say that Damon Arnett has tackling concerns, injury-prone issues, you can say that. I could agree with you on that. Last year we saw him take 2 really, really big hits, and those looked kind of dangerous, right? They didn't look too good for him. He got concussed on both of them, right? And concussions are nothing to play with. We've seen many players, not have longevity in their careers because of it, right? Damon Arnett, I do believe, will be starting week 1 in the slot. If I just had to give a player, right? I think that Damon Arnett week 1 starting in the slot. That's just what I believe. I do believe that come week 4, week 5, maybe even week 6, I think that Damon Arnett is going to get a lot more reps outside. And that's purely because I believe that him in the slot, he'll be dominating in there, and they're going to want to see what he can do outside. Now, let's say that Casey Hayward is playing up to par on the outside, and Damon Arnett is completely shut down in the slot. I'm totally okay with us if Damon Arnett is really flourishing there, really, really locking everything down in the slot. I'm totally okay with keeping Casey Hayward on the outside and keeping Arnett on the inside. That's if, Damon Arnett shows promise on the inside and then shows promise on the outside, and Casey Hayward isn't really up to par, up to speed, but I really do believe that Casey Hayward would be fine. Now, I've also heard some things about Casey Hayward, that maybe he's too old, he's too slow to play in the slot. If this were Paul Guenther's system, you guys would be right. But in the system, you don't need to be a freak athlete to play in the slot for Gus Bradley. You don't need to be this superstar to play in the slot for Gus Bradley. Do you know why? Because you have to remember, yes, we will be in cover 1, but the base is going to be a nickel cover 3 and a base 4-3 under cover 3 defense. You don't need to be a super freak athlete to play in the slot in a zone system, in a zone scheme. Reason being, because when you're in the slot, as a slot corner, and you're playing in a mainly cover system or zone system, guess what? All you're doing is covering the flats. Anybody on our defense can cover the flats. It's not a big assignment. It's not a tough assignment. It's not an athletically gifted assignment. You don't need to be a freak of nature to play in the slot in the system, especially not for cover 3. Cover 3, I mean, dude, you literally just lock down your side in the flats. It's not hard. It's not hard on the body. You don't need to be the quickest. You don't need to be the fastest. You don't need to do all those things to play in the slot. That's why I feel like if Casey Hayward, if Damon Arnett closer to week 5, week 6 can take over on the outside for Casey Hayward, I think that Casey Hayward can move inside, play the slot, and he'll be just fine, right? But like I said, if Damon Arnett is flourishing in the slot, keep him there, right? And if Casey Hayward is flourishing on the outside, as he usually does, keep him there, right? I do like Nate Hobbs. I do like Amik Robertson. But we also have to know, we have a lot of DBs on this roster, right? We have Isaiah Johnson as a good outside rotational piece, Rasul Douglas as a good outside rotational piece, and then you also have Damon Arnett, Nate Hobbs, and Amik Robertson all in the slot trying to find a job, right? I mean, I do believe that Damon Arnett, that's his job on the inside right now. But there's going to be times where we're going to have tons of DBs out there. We can have close to like 6 or 7, 8 DBs out there, right? And you'll see all those guys out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Nate Hobbs and wouldn't be surprised if we saw Nate Hobbs alongside of maybe a guy like Damon Arnett inside in those packages, and then your outside guys were Isaiah Johnson, Casey Hayward, Trayvon Mullen, guys like that, right? And then you have to remember, we have a very versatile free safety that we just drafted in Trayvon Merrick. Trayvon Merrick is extremely, extremely versatile. He's a guy who literally interchanged a lot between slot corner and free safety, and he flourished in both. So this whole Casey Hayward saying that he hasn't been playing in the slot as far as practice, and he hasn't done it since his Green Bay days, I think that this justifies what I said, right? I don't think that he'll be starting in the slot. I think he'll be starting outside week 1, probably all the way to week 5. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I really do believe that just helps my statement with what I said a long, long time ago before we even got him. But moving subject a little bit, I want to talk about what we saw with Max Crosby, right? Max Crosby and I believe Solomon Thomas and Darius Philon were all out at Von Miller's, I believe it's called his summit, his pass rush summit, basically where he just has a bunch of pass rushers in the league. I believe guys like Bradley Chubb from the Broncos were also there. A bunch of guys, right? And I like to see that a guy like Max Crosby's there. And also, Von Miller has some good words to say about Max Crosby, that Max Crosby has even taught him moves, him techniques, right? And Von Miller has been doing this for 10 plus years. Max Crosby's only going into his 3rd year. And to hear Von Miller say that kind of stuff, it's reassuring. It's nice that we know that we have a great guy in Max Crosby, right? He even went on to say that Max Crosby was a franchise player for the Raiders, and I believe that. I back that statement up. I think he will be here for, I believe, maybe his entirety of his career, right? I want Max Crosby to be here for that long, but I also wanted to read a little bit in between the lines there, right? I mean, it was in Vegas. Long experience with Max Crosby. He said that he's been a fan, been watching his game. You also see Solomon Thomas out there. You also see Darius Philon. Good amount of Raiders guys out there. I mean, just to put it out there, he could be, Von Miller's a free agent next year. Would I welcome in a Von Miller? Why not next year if he was a free agent, he wanted to come over here? That would be interesting. I mean, that would be very, very good for guys like Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby to be in the building every day with Von Miller, not just at a small little camp. But I mean, that'll be cool. I mean, who knows? That's next year that he'll be a free agent. It'll be nice to see what our guys can do this year. You know, we got guys like Malcolm Kuntz, Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, all pass rush specialists, right? These are all guys that literally are very top notch at just getting to the quarterback. Maybe not getting stopping the run, but that's what we have like guys like Hankins for, Cleveland Furrow, those guys. We have good, solid pieces right now, and I'm excited to see where we're going to be at this coming season, right? But like I said, Raider Nation, there isn't that much news going on right now, so I just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of content, a little bit of news, and a little bit of my thoughts on, what we've heard from pressers and that kind of stuff. And shout out to Max Crosby putting in the work over there with Von Miller in Vegas. But that'll be it for today's video, Raider Nation. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and I'm out. Peace.